Well, today we're going to switch things up a little bit. Every now and then we like taking a journey out of the world of bourbon and whiskey and journeying into the world of some other spirits that are out there. In this case, tequila. We're going to review El Bandido, Yankee, Añejo Tequila, 80 proof. So every now and then I like doing tequila reviews. I've reviewed Blancos, Reposados, Añejos, did some comparisons. Not very often, and I'm by no means a tequila expert, more of a beginning tequila drinker. But this particular bottle I picked up, and there's a specific reason why I did, and it goes back to last Saturday. So my local liquor store, a lot of times on Saturdays and some other days, I just like popping in some of these stores, seeing anything new, specifically any new bourbons or whiskeys. I went last Saturday, and as soon as you walk in the store, they had a tequila tasting going on, which is something that I wish a lot more stores, not necessarily tequila, but I mean more like even bourbon. I wish a lot of stores in my area would, even if it's not a tasting, would let you taste stuff before you buy. I think that's really good. But I haven't even seen any stores doing stuff like this. I think Wegmans sometimes does that, but they do that more with like wine tasting. Anyway, they have this lady with a stand here, and they were doing this line of tequilas, Blancos, Reposados, and Añejos. I went right up, and I'm like, I'm going to try one. I just went for one, the Añejo. And the reason being, Añejo, as I'll say in a minute, is the one of the three of those that is the most aged, not aged like a bourbon, but an Añejo has to be aged at least 1 year, generally 1 to 3 years. And it has a little bit of the color as opposed to like this G4 Blanco, which is a more of a pale color because of how it has any aging. So I figured that would be the one. I had a taste of this, and I said, wow, that's really good. But I was in a hurry, and I ended up saying, I'm not going to, I'd rather, spend $59 on a bottle of bourbon than a tequila, and I ended up just leaving. But then I thought about it, and I checked in with my friend Brad from Agave Love and Law. I said, is El Bandido Yankee, tequila a good brand? He said, yeah, it is. And anyway, so a few days later, came back, and boom, I ended up buying it. It was still there. There were just two left, and it was this one and another one of the Añejo. So the deal is that this actually, from what I can tell, is a very interesting brand. So this is 80 proof. This is aged 12 months in stripped and recharred American oak bourbon barrels. So they were previously used for bourbon, but they're stripped and recharred to give it more enhanced flavor when this is sitting in the barrel. It is 100% Blue Weber agave. There is no additives. That's a key one. No additives here. And the interesting thing here, the founders are former professional athletes, Jim Mars from the NFL and Chris Chelios, NHL. Both former professional athletes got together and formed this company. I think this was 2020. And the company name itself, El Bandido Yankee, reflects the founders', quote, maverick spirit and the desire to, quote, spread the Bandino spirit of giving through charitable work. I think they also have a female master distiller. It just sounds like a really, really good brand. I knew nothing about it. When I tasted it, I really liked it. That was just a drop. Let's actually see how this bottle tastes right now and really focus on this one. Here we go. Really cool looking bottle on the front and the back. That is a nice cork pop. Well, that was a great cork pop. We have it poured up here. Now, it's interesting. It looks certainly much more pale than a bourbon or whiskey, even if it was aged very little. This is aged around a year, and you could see it obviously picks up a little bit of color from the barrel. Obviously, a Blanco, different brand, G4 Blanco, has basically, clear color. Looks like water. It's aged, maybe just a few weeks, up to 2 months. Obviously, and of course, a Reposado is somewhere between 2 months and a year. So this just makes it into the Añejo category, just as a comparison of a tequila that is, from what I understand, nowhere near this. And I've had this before. This one's not great. The El Mejor, it's much darker, but it might have been in a barrel a little bit longer. That doesn't necessarily mean it's good. So let's get back into this one, El Bandido Yankee Añejo Tequila. Nice color, but light. Very, very nice nose on this one. If there was a smell, and my terms with tequila are probably a little more primitive than with bourbon, but I just get that agave smell. This is like a very crisp, very inviting smell. Let's give us a nose. Cheers. Let's give us a taste. Cheers. Yeah, this is nice. I just had a sample, a very small sample, when I was in the store. So, you really can't tell that much, but my first impression was, wow. You know, what's interesting for this type of a tequila, first of all, so some of the influence from the barrel, a little bit of aging, and also the fact it's aged in a former bourbon barrel that was stripped and recharred. This is the type of tequila which could be very inviting, or could be something that a bourbon drinker such as myself could approach. As bourbon drinkers such as myself, this is something a little different, but there is some similar taste. No, it's not everything, but there's some similar overlap. There is some vanilla in here. There definitely is some vanilla in here, and there may be some similar taste notes. You definitely get more vanilla than you would on something like a Blanco, which doesn't have much influence from the barrel. This is very good, and of course the price does go up. I think it's kind of the same with all these, but like for instance, this was $59, which is a pretty good price from what I understand for this. But if you go to the Reposado, it's a little less, and then a Blanco's a little less than that. The more it ages, obviously the price is going to be higher. Let's do something right now. I'm going to take this and compare it against this El Mejor. Both añejos, we're going to see the difference in the color, but there's also, I think there's going to be a difference in the taste too. Here we go. Okay, so we have the El Mejor Añejo tequila poured up, and you're going to see that not all Añejo tequilas are created equal. Notice the El Bandido Yankee Añejo is much lighter than the El Mejor tequila, but however, a couple of things. First of all, this is aged a little longer than 1 year, I think, but the key thing is I'm not sure if this El Mejor tequila is additive-free, whereas this is. So let's just do a comparison. I know I was not thrilled with this, and I know this is much better, but let's put them side by side. El Mejor tequila. And then the El Bandido. You could this just has a much crisper taste. Maybe aged less, possibly, but the taste is just so much crisper and better flavor and a natural flavor on the El Bandido versus the El Mejor. We'll do this one more time. This one? Yeah, this is really good. This is just a really crisp, really nice tequila. And I will say, just as a segue, the G4, this one is the G4 Blanco, but the G4 High Proof. This is the 108 proof. So the G4 on the Blanco was like, okay with it, but I did like the high proof. So I certainly wouldn't mind to see if they had a high proof in this, but I think in this case, for the Blanco, I think I needed something that was a higher proof, whereas this is actually very good right here. I would like to try. I did read up. I have never seen a G4 Añejo tequila, at least not in the stores. I've seen the Reposado. I will pick that up, if and when I see it. But basically, bottom line is coming back to this one. This is actually this is the first Añejo tequila that I've purchased, because I haven't really bought many, that I really like. Whereas this was something that was not so good. And so basically, so far I have this El Bandido Añejo tequila and that G4 High Proof Blanco that I really like. But you can really taste the difference, as in an example like this, of a well-made tequila and something less so. And I tasted the Casamigos, and I think that celebrity brand is, it may have additives. I thought it was good, but I know that this is something that is really well-made. So I would definitely encourage, if you are looking to, kind of dip your toe into the water of tequila and you're a bourbon drinker, this may be the really perfect type of tequila to do. It's añejo, so it has some aging to it. Going to pick up some tasting notes that may be familiar, having aged in a form of bourbon barrel, but one that has, it's been recharred and stripped to give it more flavor. So El Bandido Yankee Añejo tequila definitely is something that the bourbon drinker such as me can definitely drink. Cheers.